Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Genshin Impact. We have a brand new, perfect event that I wish, oh boy, please Mario, keep it in the goddamn game. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be breaking down the new event and honestly gushing about it because this is a wondrous step in the right direction and it would be amazing if it could just simply stay. It is essentially just going through a massive dungeon and cutting things down, beating things to hell, and also getting various buffs along the way. It's very seamless, and it's pretty hard to mess up, I think. But I do think it will get drastically harder as the events progress. But alas, let's talk about the domain in general. So, you're going to pick two teams very similar to Spiral Abyss. Now, along those two teams, you're going to pick various seals. Some affect cryos, some buff your damage, and they're all kind of good depending on what you have built. So pick the ones that best facilitate your build. But I went through the even first domain without needing to use any of them because I am just that kind of player. If it's a consumable, I don't use it because I could use it for a rainy day.
The rainy day has never once come ever.
Regardless, one thing you are going to want to make use of is going down on the D-pad or looking at the map. This is going to show you all of the rooms. It will just allow you to make sure you don't miss anything. And there are rooms with chests, there's rooms with question marks, and there are rooms with exclamation points / battles. Let's go over those. First things first, the bread and butter, what you're going to be dealing with is just straight up combat. So you're going to be going into these rooms and you're going to be seeing an exclamation point or kind of like an arrow pointing down or a spike pointing down. You're going to interact with that. You can choose to do a hard run or a very hard run. Interestingly enough, the hard run did not feel that bad at all. I always chose the hard run, but that's because I've already been able to do Spiral Abyss with relative ease. If you're just getting into this, choose the lesser run. It's all going to be fine. I think you're going to be able to get everything you possibly could desire because there's usually an abundance of currency in this, not a minimum. Now, while I say that, you might be asking, well, why would you even put it on hard mode? Is there any point to it? Yes. Putting it on hard mode gives you a special buff, a higher degree of legendary or higher rarity buff. So if you can chew through some harder content, you're going to be able to benefit more from it. Although I did notice that I think it's capped out at like 4, and then it starts to really get unlucky. Or I was just getting unlucky and really lucky at the beginning. But regardless, once you complete this, you'll have a higher chance of getting better buffs. The buffs at hand were good, slight increase to attack speed sometimes, and things like that. Bonus to cryo damage, ultimate damage. Some weird auto perks though, if you don't get legendary ones, or things like increases the explosive barrel's damage, or gives you that weird like AoE concuss ability or whatever, which I can never really see, and I'm pretty sure you can't either, but it's rough. Anyways, knock those events down, get your buffs, and progress into the next room. Now, there are various traps in this domain, although nothing will kill you, unless you're really just sitting in it, but yeah. And alas, the exclamation points, or sorry, the question marks, not the exclamation, question marks. What do those do? Those are just basically going to give you a random thing, but they can also curse you. So you're going to be getting a benefit, but you're also having the potential to get cursed. It's kind of like if you played the tower defense game mode in Genshin, you could pick like the chance to wager a negative with a positive. Although I very rarely got negatives, but it did happen once or twice, and it wasn't that big of a deal at all. It just made explosive barrels more deadly, which they already weren't that bad. So yeah. And again, I think it is very good to try to explore everything because there are rooms with a chest on it. Now they are kind of hidden, and you can climb in these rooms, but only on ladders. You can't climb flat walls, only ladders, but that can lead you to a couple chests and things like that outside the map or around the world space. And one last thing, with your special talismans that you chose at the beginning of the encounter, you can choose 3. Those require paper cutout puppet to actually fuel it. So you'll find these glimmers, kind of like interaction points that you can go and pop open, and they will of course give you that paper cutout that can fuel your special abilities. Although again, I felt no need to use them. I feel like it's only there for people who are just trying to kind of get ahead of some stuff. Otherwise, I think you're good to go. You don't need to use them. If you can do Spiral Abyss, you're good to go. If you can't, then leverage heavily on using every advantage you can. But yes, also I assume they'll get harder, so you will probably eventually need to use those at some point, but I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, that aside, on the topic of the story, which, this one was spicy, man, we finally we gotta see who Rock-a-Girl is, and, you know, her voice is, you know, it takes a little while to, you know, get get used to, like, you know, the nails on chalkboard kind of vibe of it all. But her personality-wise, very upbeat, very kind, sweet, all that. Also, we met Child, the sociopathic killer again, and our character is just weirdly okay with murderers, yeah, or just horrific people in general, which, you know, we should work on that. Anyway, but alas, all that aside, this event, for me, guys, was so nice. Okay, first of all, let's just stack the deck. I loved it to bits. I wish there was more of this content. This feels like something that absolutely should stay. But that's the thing that to me is a little heartbreaking, is if there's anything that we can learn from the past in this endeavor, it's that it won't. And that's the thing, even though this event is so fun, and I've only played the first domain, I can only imagine it gets more and more in-depth and crazy and all of those things, but I know that it's going to go away. And a part of me just hates that. Like, I don't know. To me, again, I'm happy right now, but if I were just to throw myself in the future and this be done, this be gone, then I'm filled with the feeling of, oh, okay. Yeah, that seems to be what MiHoYo does, is they kind of feed their audience, but always keeps them starving in a weird way. So, like, what do you call it? We had the music event, which I'm sure was there for somebody. It wasn't me, but it was there for somebody. I listened to a podcast while I did the beat game. It was a good podcast. What do you want from me? Anyways, weirdness aside, yeah, I just think that, again, MiHoYo gives one for you, one for you. Oh, you're starving and you're about to die. One for you. And then it just goes away. And what happens when players want more food or they find another better place to eat? I think that's a huge part of this. But again, that doesn't mean the event's not wonderful and this is not a great step in the right direction. It's just I'm at the point where, again, MiHoYo's had great steps before. It's the fact that they continue to make steps in the weirdest directions possible, or they're just not willing to keep things in the game so that everybody can be fed. So it's no longer well, wait until it's your turn, because you'll always have the built-up content on the side. But alas, I think I'm barking up a tree here. I don't think it'll ever happen. But alas, I don't want to make this a depressing video. I just, generally speaking, very happy with the event. Wish and plead at every possible place. Please, MiHoYo, keep it in the game. Just give people some high-end resource books, maybe like 5, or not even that. Just keep it in the game, period. This would be a fun way to actually test out your builds and seek combat. And even within the story, it was like made by some guy who wanted to test his combat ability and grow and constantly evolve. And this would be like one of the best ideal endgame content. But alas, I'm almost certain it's still going to go away. So we'll be right back to where we started before all of this. But hey, at least we got each other to find the fun and joy in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. If you manage to like or share this video around more than I deserve, thank you kindly, and goodbye.